This story comes to us from KTLA.com. And this is one that you may have already seen. You may have seen this story, especially if you follow on YouTube people like Tom Zebra and so forth. You may have seen this story. But we're going to go ahead and give it to you here now from KTLA.com. Where the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is investigating the violent arrest of a man in Inglewood. Now, it was captured in part on cell phone and surveillance video. The incident occurred as Blake Anderson was working as a security guard at a hookah lounge located at 5006 West Century Boulevard. And the Sheriff's Department indicated he does not work there. So they're saying he was working as a security guard there, but the Sheriff's Department says, but he don't work there. So was he working as a security guard or not? Who do you believe? I don't know that I believe the Sheriff's Department. But Anderson was talking with a customer when deputies got out of their vehicle and proceeded to ambush him with no probable cause.
Cell phone video shows the dramatic and violent takedown of 24-year-old Blake Anderson Sunday morning outside a hookah lounge in Inglewood. You can see an LA County Sheriff's deputy punch Anderson in the head and slam his head into the pavement as witnesses shout at deputies. The incident leaving Anderson with several bodily injuries, including potentially permanent damage to his right eye, according to his lawyers, who held a press conference in South LA today.
Alleging that we somehow blinded someone who was working as a security guard, none of the above is true.
Now, Anderson was eventually arrested on suspicion of being a felon in possession of a firearm, a loaded concealed firearm and ammunition, as well as assault of a peace officer with a firearm, according to the Sheriff's Department. In a statement to KTLA, officials described Anderson as a convicted felon and indicated the firearm in his possession was unregistered.
Sheriff Alex Villanueva says Anderson has a criminal background and is now facing several felony charges, including felon in possession of a firearm and assault on a peace officer with a firearm.
He is a convicted felon. He was armed, and there was a struggle, and there's a use of force that's being properly investigated.
This is the gun the Sheriff's Department says was found on Anderson. Anderson's lawyers say they're filing a claim against the Sheriff's Department and a federal civil rights lawsuit.
Officials said Anderson suffered minor injuries during the incident and was taken to a hospital. They claim that he could lose an eye. Now, what happened is he had a previous traumatic injury to his eye, and it was in an unrelated incident. So while they're slamming him on the ground and punching him, they're injuring this eye that was already previously injured. Anderson's family claimed he was recovering from that ruptured eye and was showing signs of improvement of his sight returning when the encounter with deputies made the matter worse. Anderson tried to explain his eye condition to the deputies to no avail. Instead, they say the deputies struck him in the head with a gun, punched him, pressed a gun into the back of his head, slammed his head against the ground, and stomped on his head. And they said that Anderson has suffered a dislocated shoulder, several hematomas around his head, and his eye will have to be cosmetically removed and replaced with a prosthetic, or what we call a glass eyeball. And of course, it's an open investigation, so the Sheriff's Department can provide no additional information. We cannot comment on ongoing investigations. Of course you can't. Sheriff Alex Villanueva called the use of force incident concerning. It's very concerning. Oh, justified. That's what's going to happen. Come on, guys. Where'd he go? But he said proper admin action will result depending on the outcome. Administrative action will result depending on the outcome. Not criminal charges, you see, because they were deputies in the just had the phrase, in the course of their duties. Basically, they were deputies doing their duty, or I don't know. Benjamin Crump is taking this one, And Ben Crump said law enforcement officers are paid to protect and serve civilians. In what world is this appropriate? He's talking about the guy being beat up. This treatment should no longer be tolerated.
At the helm, well-known civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump.
Not just excessive force, but brutality.
Anderson, wearing protective glasses and an eye patch, says doctors expect him to lose his sight. A GoFundMe page set up for Anderson and his family notes he had a pre-existing eye injury at the time of Sunday's arrest.
Honestly, I just was doing my job for my family.
Anderson says he was working for a security company as a security guard when deputies approached without cause or explanation.
The sheriff has to speak to this.
Because it does take a village to litigate these cases. Because ultimately, we will get justice.
I think this is the one where, I can't see it in this article here, but I believe this is the one where Anderson said he heard one of the deputies say, "I will blow your head off," with the gun to his head. I believe this is that one. Either way, man, if they did jump out of the car and say, well, he was a felon in possession of a firearm, one, how did they know he had a firearm, just jumping out of the car and jumping on him? Two, how did they know he was a felon? Three, why didn't they say sheriff's department on the ground? Why did they just grab him and start beating the hell out of him? Oh, I know, because he's not part of their gang. Ah, there you go.